We didn't leave until the library was closing. Noah's house was right next to mine. I stopped at his gate, about to say goodbye. But he was staring straight ahead, his gaze fixed on my front door. I followed his line of sight and met Ethan's dark,
intense stare.
He was wearing a black windbreaker that made his pale face seem even colder. The cuts on his cheekbone and jaw added a hint of untamed aggression to his look. In his hand was a small plastic bag from a pharmacy. I snapped back to the present and turned to Noah. Well, you're home. I'll see you later.
Bye.
He understood I didn't want him involved. He didn't ask any questions, just nodded. Call me if you need anything. Click of Noah's front door closing echoed in the quiet street. Ethan's gaze slowly tracked me as I walked toward him, my fingers clutching the strap of my book bag. Did you need something? He ignored my question. Aren't you sick? He countered, his voice dripping with sarcasm. You seemed perfectly fine. Laughing it up with him. As if on cue, a tickle in my throat forced a pair of coughs out of me. The mockery in his eyes faded slightly. I sniffled. If there's nothing else, I'm going inside. He shifted his body, blocking my way. A chill radiated off him, making my shoulders tremble. I wonder how long he'd been standing out here in the cold.
For his clothes to feel like ice.
Why are you running all over town with him when you're sick? He shoved the pharmacy bag into my arms, his face a grim mask. And about the other day, standing you up. I'm only saying this once, so you can believe it or not. He wasn't one for apologies, so his explanation was clipped and concise. Sophia was getting harassed by a drunk. I went to help her, but I forgot to call and let you know. And I made you wait. That was my fault. I couldn't remember Ethan ever bothering to explain himself to anyone. I was surprised he'd come looking for me, but that was it. No other emotion stirred. I held the bag of medicine back out to him, tilting my head up to meet his eyes. Thank you, but I can't take this. I can buy my own medicine. As for the other day, I accept your apology. Is there anything else? I really need to go home. Ethan's lips pressed into a thin line. His eyes locked on mine as if silently demanding, what the hell is wrong with you? After a moment of silence, I took it as my cue to leave. I murmured a quiet goodbye and slipped past him into the house. Once I was back in my room, I peeked through the window. He was still standing there, motionless. Then, as if a bitter realization had finally dawned on him, he let out a cold, humorless scoff. He tossed the bag of medicine into the nearby trash can and walked away without a backward glance. I guess he finally got the message. This wasn't me sulking. This was me giving up for good. Maybe because I've been the most persistent and the most public of all his admirers. No one seemed to notice when I suddenly, quietly gave up on him. During gym class, the guys were playing basketball. Both Ethan and Noah got injured in the same play. The second I heard, I rushed to the nurse's office. Ethan wasn't just a brutal fighter. He was a skilled one. He almost never lost. In the last 2 years, his reputation had grown,
to the point where it kept the local troublemakers at bay.
It also earned him a legion of followers who admired his strength. In the nurse's office, a crowd of guys swarmed Ethan. Noah, on the other hand, he was practically alone, with only the gym captain offering a few half-hearted words of concern. One of Ethan's friends saw me and grinned.
Whoa, Chloe.
Ethan's fine. You don't have to look so panicked. Don't you have any faith in your crush? Ethan's expression was tense. He didn't even look up. I couldn't believe that even his closest friends hadn't noticed that I'd stopped hovering around him. I pretended not to hear them and walked past the group, straight to Noah. Is it bad? Should I get a pass for you? To go to the hospital? After all, Noah had taken care of me plenty of times when I was sick. The silence in the room wasn't peaceful. It was thick with the tense, strained energy that suffocated all other sound. Noah glanced dismissively at Ethan's back. It's nothing, just hurts a bit. He offered a small smile, looking at me helplessly. But I don't think I can get back to class on my own. Could you help me out, Chloe? I nodded. Noah slung his arm over my shoulders, and I helped him limp out of the room. After that, it seemed like everyone finally got the hint. The jokes about me and Ethan stopped. Few days later, the system reappeared without warning, bringing a new mission. I pulled some strings to get this for you. It said if you succeed, the car accident you're scheduled to have will be completely painless. The system continued. Your senior graduation showcase is next week, right? To avoid interfering with final exams, our school held the event early in the second semester. I hear each homeroom is only allowed to submit one act. Avery, all you have to do is secure that performance slot for your class. That's it. Mission complete. The next day, I saw the sign-up sheet. Besides me, 3 other people had put their names down. Sophia was doing a piano performance. The arts committee representative was singing a solo. And another guy was planning to do a stand-up comedy routine, like the arts rap. I signed up for a solo performance. It was the only real talent I had. To be fair, the class president announced that the four of us had to record our full performances. We would play them for the entire class during homeroom, and they would vote for who would represent them at the showcase. The vote ended in a stalemate. Sophia and I were tied for first place. The class president wrung his hands. Is there anyone who hasn't voted yet? Someone piped up. Ethan hasn't. He's absent today. So the president decided we'd hold a re-vote in 3 days. Between just me and Sophia. Noah was fuming. The class is split right down the middle between you two. The only person left to vote is Ethan. And do we even need to guess who he's going to pick? It's obviously Sophia. We were sitting by the large glass window of a boba tea shop.
Outside.
Cars sped through the intersection, their force a palpable blur. The thought of my impending accident sent a shiver down my spine. It would be a lie to say I wasn't scared. I clutched the warm cup in my hands. I want to try. Try what? To convince Ethan to vote for me. Back when I was in love with Ethan, trying to please him with second nature. Now, just initiating a conversation felt awkward and strange. The day before the final vote, as soon as the bell rang, I gathered my courage and walked to his desk. Do you have a minute? He was leaning back in his chair. He slowly lifted his gaze to mine. You need something? I nodded twice. Just then, a light, cheerful set of footsteps approached Ethan. It was Sophia. Will you come with me to feed the stray cats after school tonight? A wave of disappointment washed over me. I lowered my head, ready to walk away. Can't tonight, Ethan said, his voice flat. Sophia seemed genuinely taken aback by his refusal.
It was a rare sight.
She quickly recovered, her lips curving into a smile. Oh, okay then. I'll just go by myself. Soon the classroom emptied out. Ethan stared ahead, not looking at me. Spit it out. What is it? I quickly pulled a tube of ointment from my bag. I saw the cuts on your face haven't healed yet, so I bought this. It was a clumsy attempt at bribery. My motive was so transparent that I squeezed my eyes shut after I said it, bracing for his mockery. But his expression didn't change. He took the tube, turning it over in his hands. An idea struck me. I could put it on for you. His response was to hand the ointment back to me. I pulled a chair over and sat beside him, dabbing a cotton swab with the cream. I carefully applied it to his cuts. The only sound in the classroom was our quiet exchange. Ethan, turn your head a little. Is this a cut here too? Yeah. This one hasn't scabbed over yet. Is it going to sting?
No.
After I finished, I tried to figure out how to bring up the vote. He cut right to the chase. Just say it.
What do you want from me?
Caught. My face flushed with heat. I took a deep breath and looked him straight in the eye. The vote tomorrow. Can you vote for me? Getting that spot is really important to me. I was terrible at this. Are you hungry? I stammered. I can buy you dinner. As I rambled on about buying him a new computer or a gaming console, he cut me off.
Chloe.
He stared at me, and after a long moment his deep voice resonated beside my ear. You want my vote? Answer one question. What is it? Do you like Noah? I shook my head. We've only ever been friends. Does that have anything to do with your vote? He didn't answer, but the chill in his eyes seemed to thaw. He stood up, looking like he was ready to leave. I bit my lip. So will you vote for me tomorrow? Then stretched his neck, slung his backpack over his shoulder, and strolled out of the classroom. Yeah, he said, his voice a low drawl. Before homeroom, my desk mate looked at me bewildered. Why are you so happy you're practically buzzing? I just smiled, not saying a word, because I'm going home pain-free.
The bell rang.
The class president walked to the front to count the votes. Oh, right, he said. Before I start, Ethan, you voted this time, right? I turned to look at him, my eyes crinkling with a smile I couldn't contain. Our gazes met for a split second before he abruptly looked away. I voted. A terrible feeling started to bloom in my chest. President counted the ballots one by one. Every second stretched into an eternity of torment. Okay, that's all of them. The votes are in. With one more vote, Sophia wins. A radiant smile spread across the girl's face. Thank you all so much for your support. The president nodded. I'll go submit your act after class. My fingers went slack. The pen I was holding clattered to the floor, the sharp sound drawing a few glances in the quiet room. A sudden snort of laughter broke the silence. Are you kidding me? Look at her face. What is she so shocked about? It was always going to be Sophia.
It was a sure thing.
I know, right? She's been chasing him for 2 years.
Does she seriously still think
she means more to Ethan than Sophia does? It's actually pathetic. I could die laughing. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible hand. A dull, throbbing ache. I ignored the piercing whispers, my eyes fixed on the back of Ethan's head.
Why?
Why would you promise me only to break it? Is it fun to mess with me like this? The final bell felt like a reprieve. I practically fled the classroom. Noah followed me out, grabbing my wrist. Chloe, don't be upset. His eyes were red with anger. I'm going to go find that bastard and settle this.
Don't.
I pulled him back, my voice hoarse. Just let it go. How can I let it go? Why does he get to screw with you like this? I shook my head, a tear finally escaping and rolling down my cheek. It doesn't matter anymore, Noah. I'm leaving soon anyway. Noah froze. He looked at me, the anger in his eyes slowly melting into a look of helpless sorrow. But you can't just let him get away with it. I wiped away the tear, forcing a smile that was more painful than a grimace. It's okay. Let's just call it one last act of foolishness before I go. 2 years of devotion shattered into dust in a single moment. I thought I didn't care anymore, but I was wrong. To be given a promise, only to have it ripped away by him. It still hurt. It hurt so much, I could barely breathe. The rain didn't fall. It hung in the air like a mist, slicking the asphalt of the school driveway. I walked out of the building, my backpack feeling strangely light. Noah was still inside, detained by the gym teacher regarding his injury. I was alone. I stopped at the crosswalk. The system's voice was no longer robotic. It sounded almost sympathetic. Countdown initiated. 10 seconds to impact. Pain receptors disabled. I didn't step into the road. I waited on the curb. The accident wasn't something I needed to chase. The system always delivered. Chloe. The voice was rough, breathless.
I didn't turn around.
I knew the cadence of those footsteps. Heavy, authoritative, panicked.
Ethan.
Stop walking away from me. He grabbed my shoulder, spinning me around. His hair was plastered to his forehead, his chest heaving. The black windbreaker I had admired just yesterday now looked like a shroud. We're not done. You don't get to look at me like I'm dead, and then just walk off. I looked at his hand on my shoulder, then up at his face. He looked angry.
Confused.
He was waiting for me to scream, to cry, to demand why. We are done, Ethan, I said softly. You made your choice. It was a vote, Chloe. A stupid high school vote. He shook me slightly, frustration bleeding into his tone. Sophia needed this for her college application. You just wanted attention. I did it for you. If you won, you'd just embarrass yourself on stage. So that was it. He thought he was saving me. He thought so little of me that he crushed my dream to spare me a hypothetical failure. 3 seconds. It doesn't matter, I said, and for the first time in 2 years, I smiled at him, not with love, but with pity. Goodbye, Ethan. I took a step back, pulling out of his grip. The screech of tires wasn't loud. It was a dull, wet slide. Ethan's eyes went wide. He lunged for me, his hand stretching out, fingers brushing the fabric of my sleeve. The delivery truck, sliding on the wet leaves, jumped the curb. I felt the impact. The system kept its word. There was no pain, just a massive, blunt force that lifted me off the ground. The world spun, gray sky, wet pavement, Ethan's horrified face, and then absolute silence. Ethan stood frozen on the sidewalk. His hand was still outstretched, grasping nothing but damp air. The truck had slammed into the lamppost, the front crumpled. Lying on the grass, a few feet away, was Chloe. She looked like a broken doll, her limbs arranged at unnatural angles. Her eyes were closed. Chloe? He whispered it first. Then he screamed it. He scrambled over to her, his knees hitting the concrete hard enough to bruise, but he didn't feel it. He hovered over her, terrified to touch her. There was blood, too much of it, pooling under her head, mixing with the rain to create a pink halo.
No, no, no.
Get up. You're faking. He choked out a laugh, a hysterical, broken sound. You're just trying to make me feel guilty. It worked, okay? You win.
I'm sorry.
Get up. She didn't move. She didn't breathe. The school doors burst open. Noah came running out, limping on his bad leg. He stopped dead when he saw the scene. Ethan looked up, his face pale, streaked with rain and tears. She stepped back. She stepped back because of me. Noah didn't speak. He didn't scream. He walked over, shoved Ethan aside with a force that sent the larger boy sprawling into the mud, and knelt beside Chloe. Noah checked her pulse, his hands shaking violently. Call 911. Noah roared, his voice cracking. Ethan fumbled for his phone, his fingers slick with rain and trembling so hard he dropped it twice. As he dialed, he looked at the tube of ointment in his pocket, the one she had bought him yesterday. I can put it on for you. The memory hit him like a physical blow. He vomited right there on the pavement. Chloe didn't die. She existed in the gray zone between life and death. The doctors called it a persistent vegetative state induced by traumatic brain injury. 3 weeks passed. Ethan sat in the plastic chair next to her hospital bed. He had been there every day. He had skipped practice. He had skipped exams. He had lost weight. His cheekbones were sharper, his eyes hollowed out by lack of sleep. The room smelled of antiseptic and wilting flowers. Sophia had visited once, bringing a bouquet of lilies. Ethan had thrown them in the trash the moment she left. "I need you to wake up," Ethan murmured, his voice raspy. He held her hand. It was cold, limp. "I need to tell you why."
Elite.
"It wasn't because I thought you'd embarrass yourself." He leaned his forehead against her hand. "I voted for Sophia because I was jealous," he confessed to the silence. "Because that day in the nurse's office, seeing you help Noah, seeing you look at him like he was the only person in the room, I hated it. I wanted to punish you. I wanted you to lose, so you'd come running to me for comfort. I wanted to be the one to dry your tears." He laughed bitterly.
I'm sick, Chloe. I'm twisted.
"But I love you. I think I've loved you for a year, and I was too arrogant to say it. Please, just wake up and yell at me." The monitor beeped steadily. Beep, beep, beep. The door opened. It was Noah. The two boys looked at each other. The animosity was gone, replaced by a shared, heavy grief. "Go home, Ethan," Noah said quietly. "You look like hell." "I can't. She wouldn't want you here," Noah said, stepping into the room. "You broke her heart before the truck broke her body. Do you think your guilt fixes that?" "I don't care about fixing it," Ethan whispered. "I just want her to live." In the darkness of her coma, Chloe was floating. Mission failed. Punishment complete. Host vitality, 12%. "Can I go now?" Chloe thought.
I'm tired.
Anomaly detected. External interference level, high. Calculating. The system displayed a screen in her mind. It was a live feed of her hospital room. She saw Ethan, head bowed, holding her hand. She saw the tears tracking through the dirt on his face. Target, Ethan, has reached emotional threshold. Obsession/regret. Hidden objective unlocked. The true confession. "I don't care," Chloe thought. "Let me die." Request denied. The narrative has shifted. Host must survive to complete the final arc-initiating repair sequence. Cost, emotional erasure. Wait, what? To survive the physical trauma, resources must be diverted from emotional centers. Removing attachment to target Ethan. Removing trauma. Rebooting. It happened on a Tuesday. The rain had finally stopped, replaced by a pale, winter sun. Ethan was dozing in the chair when he heard a shift in breathing. He snapped awake. Chloe's eyes were open. They were staring at the ceiling tiles, blinking slowly. "Chloe?" Ethan scrambled up, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. "Chloe, can you hear me?" "Doctor. I need a doctor." She turned her head slowly. Her eyes landed on him. Ethan froze. He expected anger. He expected sadness. He expected love. He found none of it. Her eyes were clear, calm, and utterly indifferent. It was like looking into a mirror that refused to reflect him. "Who are you?" she asked. Her voice was weak, scratchy from disuse. Ethan felt the blood drain from his face. "It's me."
Ethan.
Do you not remember?" She furrowed her brow, thinking. "I remember my name.
Chloe.
I remember.
Noah.
I remember school." She looked at him again, tilting her head. "I remember you. You're Ethan, the fighter." "Yes," he breathed, hope surging. "Yes, that's me." "Why are you here?" she asked politely. The question cut deeper than any knife he had ever wielded. I'm here because I care about you." Chloe watched him for a moment, then turned her gaze back to the window.
Oh.
"That's nice of you, but you don't have to stay. We aren't close." Ethan stood there, the words dying in his throat. She remembered the facts. She remembered who he was. But the feeling, the 2 years of chasing, the blushing, the heartbreak, was gone. It had been wiped clean. Recovery was slow, but miraculous. Within 2 months, Chloe was back in school. The dynamic had shifted so violently that the entire student body had whiplash. Chloe walked through the halls with a serenity that was unnerving. She didn't look for Ethan in the crowd. She didn't bring him medicine. She didn't freeze when he walked by. She simply existed. Ethan, on the other hand, was unraveling. He followed her. Not menacingly, but like a lost dog. He carried her books when she let him, which she rarely did. He brought her lunch. He threatened anyone who looked at her wrong. "Chloe." Ethan approached her at her locker.
He held out a small box.
"I got you the new limited edition album you wanted last year." Chloe looked at the box, then at him.
Thank you, Ethan.
"But I don't listen to that band anymore." "You loved them." "I changed," she said simply, closing her locker. "Is there anything else?" "I have to meet Noah." "Why is it always Noah?" Ethan snapped, the old aggression flaring up. Chloe didn't flinch. She just looked at him with those empty, calm eyes. "Because Noah is my best friend. And you're just a classmate, Ethan. Why are you acting like we're something more?" Because you loved me, he hissed, slamming his hand against the lockers. The hallway went silent. You loved me for 2 damn years. I know, Chloe said. She sounded like she was discussing the weather. I remember the events. I remember bringing you medicine. I remember the vote. Then how can you look at me like I'm nothing? Because I realized something when I woke up, she said. It didn't hurt anymore. The promise you broke? It doesn't matter.
You don't matter in that way.
It's liberating. She patted his arm, a gesture so platonic it burned his skin, and walked away. Ethan stood there, staring at her back. He finally understood. This was his punishment. He had wanted her to stop chasing him.
Fine.
She stopped. He had wanted to be the one in control. Now he had zero control. The semester ended. The graduation showcase, the event Chloe had wanted to perform and arrived. Sophia, guilt-ridden since the accident and disturbed by Ethan's descent into madness, had withdrawn her act. The slot was open. Noah signed Chloe up without asking her. You need to do this, Noah told her. Not for Ethan. For the girl who got hit by a truck. Chloe stood backstage, wearing a simple white dress. The scars from the accident were faint white lines on her arms, hidden by the fabric. The auditorium was packed. Ethan was in the front row. He looked like a statue, his eyes fixed on the empty stage. When Chloe walked out, the room went quiet. She sat at the piano, Sophia's instrument, but Chloe had learned. She began to play and sing. It wasn't a sad song. It was a song about survival, about waking up in a room and realizing the sun was shining, and that was enough. Her voice was clear, haunting, and devoid of the desperation that had defined her previous existence. Ethan watched her, tears streaming silently down his face. He realized, finally, that the Chloe he knew was gone. He had killed her that day in the rain. This new Chloe was stronger, brighter, and completely out of his reach. After the show, Ethan found her outside, near the very gate where he had ignored her months ago. That was beautiful, he said. Thanks. She was checking her phone. Chloe, I'm applying to the same university as you, Ethan blurted out. I'll follow you. I'll make you fall in love with me again. I don't care how long it takes. 10 years.
20.
I'll do it right this time. Chloe looked up. She sighed, a small, tired sound. Ethan, don't. Why not? You think I can't change? No, she said. I think you can. But you're trying to fix a story that's already ended. You're in the sequel, but I'm starting a new book. She took a step closer, her voice gentle but firm. You like the chase, Ethan. You liked me when I was chasing you, and now you like chasing me because I'm unavailable.
You don't love me.
You love the game. That's not true, he choked out.
Prove it, she said.
Let me go. The wind rustled the trees. It was the same setting as the start of their tragedy, but the roles were reversed. Ethan looked at her. He saw the scars. He saw the peace in her eyes that he had never given her. If I let you go, he whispered, will you be happy?
I already am, she said.
Ethan closed his eyes. He clenched his fists until his knuckles turned white. He took a deep, shuddering breath. Okay, he said. Okay. Chloe left for college a week later. She didn't look back as her parents' car drove away. She didn't see Ethan standing at his window, watching until the car disappeared around the corner. She didn't see him sink to the floor, burying his face in his hands. The system chimed in her head one last time. Hidden mission complete. The art of letting go. Reward, freedom. Goodbye, Chloe thought. The system vanished. The interface, the numbers, the threats, all gone. 5 years later. The city was busy, the coffee shop bustling with the morning rush. Ethan adjusted his tie. He was working at a law firm now. The cuts on his face were long gone, replaced by a clean-shaven, professional look. But his eyes were still intense, still dark. He ordered his black coffee and turned to leave. He bumped into a woman entering the shop. Oh, sorry,
He stopped.
She was wearing a trench coat, holding a stack of files. Her hair was shorter, styled differently. But the eyes were the same. Chloe? She looked up. There was a moment of recognition, a spark of surprise. Ethan? She smiled. It was a genuine, warm smile. Not the desperate smile of a high school girl in love, and not the cold, empty smile of a trauma victim. Just a smile between old acquaintances. Wow, he exhaled. You look great. You too, she said. I heard you made partner at the firm. Noah told me. Yeah, he rubbed the back of his neck. And you? How's the music? It's good. I'm teaching now. A comfortable silence settled between them. The tension, the pain, the history, it felt like a lifetime ago. Ethan started, then stopped. He wanted to say, I still miss you. He wanted to say, I never dated anyone else. But he looked at her hand. A simple gold band sat on her ring finger. Chloe followed his gaze. She didn't hide it. Noah? Ethan asked, his voice steady. Yeah, she laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. It took us a while to figure it out, but yeah, last spring. Ethan felt a pang in his chest, sharp and familiar. But it didn't crush him. He had had 5 years to prepare for this. He nodded slowly. He's a good guy. He always was. He is. Chloe checked her watch. I have to run. But it was really good seeing you, Ethan. You too, Chloe. She walked past him to the counter. Ethan stood by the door for a moment. He looked at her one last time. The woman who had loved him, the woman he had destroyed, and the woman who had rebuilt herself without him. He pushed the door open and stepped out into the street. The sun was shining. The air was crisp. He took a sip of his bitter coffee and started walking. He was alone, but for the first time in years, he wasn't waiting for something that would never happen. He had let her go. And in doing so, he had finally let himself go, too.